Welcome back to yet another episode number 7 of the current review with Central News, the TT Hookup. My name is Thamsanqa, and we are back from a very exciting weekend of sporting events for our country. The very tense win of the Boks over England this past Saturday. In the as I said, very tense semi-final game, very, very tense. But we are happy to have come out with the win from that encounter. And I'm just worried though, like in the quarterfinals, we won that match with 29 points to 28, just 1 point difference. On the semi-final game, we also won with a 1 point difference, 16-15. And this one was even more close because the winning point came through a kick in the dying minutes of the game. And I think many of us were beginning to lose hope that are these guys going to be forced to come back home because of the win. But ultimately they made it. But individually, I pray that they do better than that, man. They must not keep us through the stress of not knowing whether we're coming or going. That for me was a bit problematic. However, I suppose that's what makes the game exciting. That's what makes it such an enthralling sort of encounter. And for that reason, I think the Boks have won themselves quite a huge following, not just in South Africa, but through the world. And this game also came with its own sort of controversy, because after the match, I think later on Sunday, we started hearing complaints. One player from England, Curry, complaining that he was called with a racial slur by one of the Bongs, Bongi Mbonambi, saying that Bongi called him a white C, like a white cunt. He said a white cunt. And the other guys who were explaining that encounter, saying that if he said that, he may have been referring to the white side in Afrikaans, because the England team was wearing a white jersey, and therefore in Afrikaans, as they speak, they will say like a vetkant, like they are on a vetkant, and not necessarily the slur that this guy might have had. So yeah, the apparently the World Rugby organization will be looking at that, investigating whether or not Mbonambi truly indeed insulted Curry. And if it is found to be the case, the Ox would be suspended or not be able to play in the upcoming game. But I do hope and believe that he will be cleared of that. It will be seen that definitely he didn't insult, but he was referring to a different side of the game, as like in Afrikaans, saying they are referring to the people on the opposition of the team, Vetkant, white side. That's the one thing, but we're very happy that the Boks won that game. Another thing which is very concerning, to me as a person, and I think, concerning because it has quite an effect on the number of the lives of our people. The closure of the Spaza shops, which are owned by foreign nationals in our townships. I'm talking about this because it happened very recently in the town of Vredefort in the Free State, where two siblings who were killed or died as a result of suspected poisoning after they had eaten a snack pack that they had bought from one of the shops there in that township. Now, some people immediately began to suspect that the poisoning came from that snack pack, and as a result, there was a mobilization around the township to close all the shops which are owned by these foreign nationals, and that mobilization took advantage. There was a protest there in the town, forcefully closing the shops, because according to the people who are doing this, they say that these guys are selling expired products, foods in particular, or fake fake product. Like by fake, they would mean something like, if for example you're selling Simba knickknacks, they would get something else which is not Simba knickknacks, but rebrand the Simba knickknacks, and therefore that is what is called a fake product, I believe. And these products, they believe some of them are laced with poison, which may have led to the death of these two young siblings. But the authorities had confirmed at the time that it could not be confirmed. In fact, it could not be confirmed that these kids were killed as a result of poison. And if it was indeed poison, it could not be confirmed at the time that it was poison coming from the snack pack that these kids had eaten. But that issue is still under investigation, and the authorities may come out to give the verdict as to whether indeed these kids died as a result of a poison eaten from the snack, or if it was poison coming from a different source. But ultimately, the Spaza shops were closed in Fraserford. This escalated to also the neighboring town in Paris, the township of Tumaule. Also, the Spaza shops were closed there by force, by a group of people who mobilized the community to go and close these tuck shops, because they are saying that these foreign nationals who are running Spaza shops are selling either fake products or products that have expired and therefore posing a danger to the rest of the community. Now, my thing about this is that, well and good, if we're concerned about this, like, why do we not take the authorities, like the health officials, to go and investigate and await the outcomes and to see whether or not, what we're suspecting about this is true or not, instead of just taking the law into our hands and and concluding that there is a crime committed by these guys, and therefore they must be chased out of our townships. Another question I'm asking is, were these kids the only kids really who ate that kind of snack pack there and therefore died as a result? Or do we have an unreported case of a number of kids who have died as a result of having eaten poisoned snacks from these shops? It's a question of logic, really. Is it really the case? I suppose we will get the answers once the authorities release publicly the post-mortem results of the death of the children. Another impact, which I think the closure of the Spaza shop have, is the immediate impact is that a lot of our people are dependent on the products that are sold by the Spaza shops to them. For example, bread is not immediately available in the townships unless it is found in the Spaza shops. Now, when the Spaza shops are closed, it means that our people have to go to further distances for them to be able to get bread. Some would have to get a taxi to go to town, which is about 13 rands, or can say 26 rand, a return trip for to go to town to get bread or other essentials that you could get from the Spaza shop. Others would have to go to a like there's another big brand shop which is not owned by the so-called foreign nationals, but you would have to go there, you know. That's another thing that immediately it poses an immediate challenge to people who can't, travel distances as a result of either not having sufficient money or the elderly who may not be able to walk long distances. And by this, I do not necessarily mean to say that people deserve to be sold products which are not of a good standard. Definitely not. But before you reach that conclusion, you must have verifiable facts of whether or not these goods are indeed, not of a good standard for people. And what sort of measures have you used to determine that? That is just my thinking. And this leads now me to another aspect of this conversation which we must have, because what other people are arguing in the ensuing discussion is that these Spaza shops which are owned by foreign nationals have taken away the possibility for own people to run their own shops in our country. Like, all shops now are owned by foreign nationals, and our people do not have the opportunity to participate in that economy. Now, the question that it leads me to is this one, as to what exactly is the structure of our, of our economy, especially in the townships, because the Spaza shops are a big economic driver in our townships, and they do not, at the current moment, they do not reflect the demographics of the natural inhabitants of the country. But this is a subject that I think I would like to take over as I introduce the following guest of the show. I think we will be engaging after this incept. I think I will also take just a bit further, with him, the provincial chairperson of the ANC Youth League, Olani Tseletsele. He's the provincial chairperson of the ANC Youth League. We'll be having an interaction with him in the second part of the current review. For now, let's take a minute. We'll be back with the current review. We'll take this discussion further with him as we ask him about the outcomes of their provincial executive committee meeting, which was held recently. The current hookup, who shall be